Welcome to Formosa Dream Chasers.
We're your hosts, Mary Ann
and Ching En.
Please join us as we explore the journeys amazing people take in pursuit of their dreams.
And get insights from their experiences.
Let's hit the road
and get started. Welcome back to the second part of our conversation with Lee Han-wei. In our last episode, Han-wei shared how he began his journey as a clarinetist. Today, we listen as he shares how he transitioned from being a musician to becoming a composer and arranger.
You were mentioning how much of an impact Chen 老师 or your teacher Chen made in your life, especially in your musical growth. So I was wondering, did your teacher give you any advice that stayed with you up to now?
Yes, I think there is. So when I'm a younger player, I always like to move my body with the music. When the music is more aggressive or intense, I might have a larger movement. And when the music gets softer or more intimate, I always have fewer motion. And I always stay in some kind of weird position or weird posture. And he told me that it doesn't work that way because you couldn't express music with so many of your bodies instead of your emotion. You can still express music with your body, but it should be a balanced one. So you have to pay focus to both of your body and of your music. Otherwise, some of the difficult passage that might require a stable body posture might be very, very difficult for you. And yes, it was very, very basic, but it was also a starter for me to think about how to express music. Because no matter when I compose, when I play, or when I arrange, how to express my music or how to express the things I want to tell with my music is very, very important and very, very difficult. You have some of the skills or some of the cliche you can use as an expression, but still, when you are telling something that are very, very delicate, when you are telling some things that are very, very emotional, those cliche doesn't work. You have to have your own interpretation of the music. You have to have your own understanding, and you have to have the ability to share the understanding, the interpretation. Otherwise, all the thoughts in your mind, all the emotion in your mind will be nonsense because people didn't get it. They see you on stage waving your clarinets, but it doesn't help for them to understand what your interpretation is.
And so coming to our next question is, so you are a clarinetist. You're a clarinet player anyway. And so what made you become a composer or arranger?
So when I was in my university, I joined my university's band, but I also joined another band which is led by trumpet player, composer, and conductor Ye Shu-han. So for those of you who didn't know, Ye Shu-han graduated from Conservatoire de Paris in the 80s. And he was one of the start members of the National Symphonic Orchestra. And he is still a very, very talented trumpet player. And I'm still working with him. He's a very, very nice person. And he knows a lot about music. And he plays so many beautiful tones. So anyway, Ye Shu-han had a wind orchestra, which he led, and I was in it. I not only play with the orchestra, but I also do some administrative works. Like, I think I was a librarian for the sheet music in the orchestra. So my main job is to make copies for different sector players and managing all the sheet music for the different performance. But when I started to prepare for all the sheet music, I started to notice that, oh, so there's so many arrangements. Sometimes there might be some errors, there might be some mistakes on the sheet music on part score. So I have to check if there's any mistakes on the main score, on the part score, on the sheet music, and which started my arranging life. Because sometimes you have this kind of arrangement that are not particularly very well written, and there was a voice in my head that told me that, how about you try it? How about you made your own arrangement of this? And I did made an arrangement, and I gave it to Master Ye and say, hey, I had a arrangement by myself. It doesn't really sound good, I guess, but if you don't mind, you can try it. And he tried it, and he was like, wow, that was pretty good for anyone who tried it their first times. So do you want to do it anymore? So I started my life of arranging and composing, but it was very, very difficult because I didn't have the training of the composer. For most of the composer who attended the 音乐班, the music class, because they have a specific music class for musicians in the elementary school, and the middle school, and high school, and they have a certain ways of training the musician to have learn all the music theories, how do you write harmony, and how do you write counterpoint and such. But I didn't have that case. I didn't have that classes, so I have to learn it by myself, by my ears, and by the failures I have done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Mr. Ye did give me a lot of chances for practicing, but then I didn't really know how to write good music until I met Chen Chang'an. So Chen Chang'an is one of my senior. He graduated from National Taiwan Normal University and Department of Music, majoring in composing. And he is not only a very delicate composer, but also a very, very good friend of me. He taught me how to write harmony. He taught me how to think like a composer. He taught me how to do instrumentation, which is arranging for different instruments. He taught me how to approach a music work by its harmony, or by its instrumentation, or even by its composing skills. He taught me how to analyze a music work. Yeah, if I didn't met him, I think I won't be a composer like now.
You mentioned that Professor Ye and composer Chen were big influences in your musical journey. Just to be clear, what is the difference between composing and arranging?
Most people would say composing is to make your own music, but arranging is to make your music playable, or make your music in a because you can always compose a music. Like now I can compose a music like do, mi, re, fa, mi. Yeah, I've composed. Everyone could compose, but not everyone could make the composition into a playable music or into some kind of session of music. There's a difference between the arrangement and interpreted arrangement. Because when you're making arrangement, first you have to consider your resource. You have to know what kind of music instrument you have, and second of all, you have to think about the interpretation. Do you respect the original composer and their ideas, or are you trying to find new ways of telling the story? Is it a rearrangement, or are you trying to impose the original composer's ideas about this music? Actually, there's a lot of things you can do in arranging. I would say arranging will be more difficult than composing, because arranging requires you to understand the ideas of the original composer, and you have to make a choice to follow the composer ideas or have your own interpretation of the music.
Yeah. And I remember some time ago when Han-wei mentioned about his arrangement of the indigenous music, he has a really strong ethical concern about cultural appropriation and how can I deal with this kind of issue properly. But I'm also wondering what a day is like for an arranger or a composer. What do you do every day? Do you have to practice something like a music performer?
You would have to practice. You would have to stay on your pianos or the main instrument you use as your creating tools. You will have to have certain session where you make different tries and different attempts to finish your work. I would say that's more like an experiment. You have your own pianos, your own times in your room, and you make different kind of music, or you make different kind of ideas on your mind, and you play it, and you hear it if it works or not. So, yes, first of all, you have to have a lot of personal space and personal time to consider if your musical idea might work or not. And second, I think you have to attend a lot of rehearsal, and you have to listen to the players, listen to the musician. You have to make swift a judgment or swift decision that you're going to change this because of the current condition, because sometimes you made some music that sounds very, very good in your ears, but doesn't really make the performance happy. There's also something you have to do at a daily basis, and really on a daily basis is you have to do a lot of field research. You have to know about or you have to have ideas about your composing or arranging works. You have to listen to the music, yes, but you also have to read about the source materials. You have to read about the things you are composing or the main topics you are composing, because composing is not only about music but about how you express certain topic or certain issue that you want to speak about.
Okay.
Seeing how you were so involved with music from your childhood, how did you end up taking up veterinary medicine as your college degree?
It was like my childhood dream. So I had 3 cats. I used to have 4 cats when I attended vet school. Then I really, really wanted to take care of them. So I was thinking about, should I be a musician? Maybe not. It's kind of boring. If I can do then something else, it will be fun. It will be more interesting for me. So I chose veterinary medicine. Well, I have graduated, but I didn't really like the industry. It was very, very stressful. But anyway, I think the connection I can make between my music career and my vet upbringing is more like how I observe things. Because animals cannot talk. You have to pay a lot of attention observing their posture, observing their body language, observing their vital signs to make a diagnosis. So I think it was a very detailed observation that really links me into my music career, because you have to have some observation before you can compose anything. And that really trained me well. Like, I could observe something that my fellow musician doesn't really realize, or I could write something that is very, very sensitive to some musician, but they didn't really notice it before. Yeah, maybe observation to the details might be a great training for my vet school years.
Thanks for tuning in. That's all the time we have today.
Please remember to join us next week as we get a glimpse of what the industry is like for music composers and arrangers here in Taiwan.
Again, this is Qing En.
And Mary Ann. See you guys next Sunday. Bye.